I reconnect people with lost money. And today it's Oswald James Quinton. He's lost 8,908 and he lost it in 2002. I also think this is a love story. Oswald James Quinton now lives in this columbarium. He's just been turned into little ashes and he's been put behind this little plaque on this wall. Autumn Court, Wall 2, Row 1, Niche 10. That was too hot a place to film, so let's do it at night. This is a good decision. I don't think there's like enough light in the car. Anyway, Oswald James Quinton was born in 1899. He was born in White River Hotel, which is in like an old defunct town called Luina in Tasmania. His father ran the White River Hotel. His grandfather ran the Biscoff mine there. Well, he was like second in command or something like that. He was important, but I don't know what he was. It doesn't matter. Oswald grew up in White River. He lived in that hotel for like a good, 30 years of his life or something similar. Eventually, I think 1927, the family put the hotel on the market. They sold it in 1928, and then that was the end of it. They moved to Melbourne in Victoria. The thing about Oswald was deaf. He was deaf. And I think he was mute. I don't think you say deaf mute anymore. In Melbourne, he rode his motorbike around the wrong side of a tram and he got in trouble for that. And the judge wanted to take away his license. I don't know if he actually did take away his license. I'm sure this was a massive hassle for Oswald. If you go back and look at Oswald's plaque on the wall at Niche 10, Niche 9, right next to it, has Ethel Quinton. Ethel was Ethel Brassington. Here's a missing persons for her in 1929. She's 20 years old, gone missing from a Salvation Army children's work home. And they've put out like a missing persons report in the Police Gazette for her. Gonna drive over here and park in the empty parking lot. When Ethel went missing, she was dressed in a blue frock, light stockings, tan shoes, and was looking cute AF. Says that she frequents wine bars. The bulletin also says that she's deaf. 4 or 5 years later, she was at the a Sydney baths. She fell off a pontoon. She had to be taken by ambulance to hospital. And then she married Oswald. And they lived together for 40 years. It looks like they lived sort of between Melbourne and Sydney. I'm not sure what the details were. I mean, that's all I really know about them. You could see them living together through the years. And then you could see Oswald living alone in 1977 because Ethel passed away in 1976. And that's really it. That's all you can see. Oswald and Ethel never had children, so there's no one to collect the $8,900. It went missing. It's been unclaimed since, I think, 2002. Oswald's parents passed away in 1934 and 1935. You can see James Quinton on this grave, and you could sort of see Emily, but they're both in that grave. Looking at the obituary, there's only 2 children, Oswald and Vera. Vera Grace married Robert Mitchell Holdsworth. The bride looked charming in a pale pink lace frock softly draped over silk and caught at the side with a brilliant buckle. They didn't have children either. Their remains were spread out over Springvale Cemetery in Melbourne. What this means is I have to go back to that abandoned town, White River, in Tasmania, 1900. This is the actual hotel that they owned. I think they owned it for something like 15 years. It looks amazing. This is my favorite photo. I feel certain that Oswald and his sister and his father, the whole family is in this photo and looking out at us. And that's I think that's amazing. I think that's great. There's other photos. I actually tried to find it on a map, going back and forth. This is the only place that White River really crosses the road in the right place. I even followed these directions from 1935 or 1925 or something that followed the roads and described how to get to the White River Hotel. I'm not 100% sure this is it. And if it is, it's crazy how much the landscape's changed. They left in 1928. The hotel burned down in 1929. It burned to the ground. It was never rebuilt. It just stopped existing. I think there might have been a shack with a bar for a little bit, but the government put a stop to that and then it was done. This is Oswald's grandfather's and grandmother's grave. Eliza, Oswald's grandmother, passed away in 1912 and his grandfather passed away in 1913. Oswald's father had a brother, Angus. Angus had a child named Doris, and I contacted Doris's grandson. I messaged him about the money, the $8,900, and he got back to me very fast and he said thank you, which is nice. I don't think he's going to try and claim it, but in terms of line of inheritance, I've followed up and down the tree pretty close for Oswald, and that's probably about the best I can do, unless I can find his will, which I can't. That was super nice for him to get back to me though. So I think Oswald's money, and maybe his story, will probably get buried forever. And the money's just going to sit there in the coffers of ASIC. But also, can I just say, the people that ran the White River Hotel after the Quintons left, they looked dodgy. And I looked them up. So I think Quinton did a fast deal. He puts it up for sale. It says, quick sale, want to get rid of this place. So I think this guy called Percy Alfred Anderson bought it quickly for a steal. And then he abandoned his wife. His wife was Alice Mary Etchell. And then the next year, the place is being run by Alice Mary Etchell. Percy Alfred's gone. He's run away. Alice's brother, Hilary Etchell, burns down the hotel. I think he burns down the hotel. Nobody says it, but he gets good money. He gets £700 insurance, which I think is probably a good amount of money to get for this ramshackled hotel in the middle of Tasmania. How can you say no to £700? The other thing about Hilary Etchell is the family in 1929, when the hotel burned down, were gone. They were just randomly absent from the hotel. It burns down. They get this insurance money. And then 10 years later, 1939, his house burns down. Same guy. Guy looks dodgy. This is Percy Alfred Anderson. I think he was passing fake checks for skins. He was passing those checks with another brother of Alice Mary, so his ex-wife. Respect to them. I like a good insurance scam. Also, I just want to point out, Percy Alfred, the guy who ran away from his wife, the guy who bought the White River Hotel, he fought in 2 wars. He fought in World War One and World War Two. Maybe a cool guy? I don't know. I think there's more I could probably unravel with the White River Hotel mystery, but I'm not going to. I am done. I don't know if the guy I messaged is going to try and get the money. I don't think he's going to try and get the money. And I don't think there's anybody else to message. So that's the end of my video. If you'd like to follow me, that would be really cool.